evening and welcome to live coverage of the RWB International Constructors Championship Round 2 this evening from Imola in Italy. I'm Rob Lomas and I'll once again be guiding you through the 42 car field, which is currently in the closing stages of one-shot qualifying at the moment in the early morning. Not quite darkness. It is getting noticeably lighter, but you can still see the reflections from the headlights on the circuit. It was a win for Jack Alexander and Porsche last time out at Brands Hatch, with Alexander finishing just ahead of Radek Schuller in the McLaren, Crawford Brown in the Lexus, Kai Banks in the Audi. And then the BMW pairing of Hugo Gomez and Nathaniel Shirley, followed by Dan Barnett in another Audi, the Nissan of Berno Reitzmer, Sam Kruger in the Mercedes GT3 Evo, and G4 George in the Lexus RCF GT3. Currently looking at James Lacey at the moment, who puts in a very good lap to go second fastest. Overall, cracking run from him there. Now looking at Debug, who puts in a very solid lap to go 18th fastest, but is almost immediately bumped down to 19th as well. Coming to see Radek Schuller now, who goes second fastest, only a couple of tenths off the pole time set by Kai Banks, but that's beaten by Nathaniel Shirley, who sets a very late lap to go fastest overall. It's a phenomenal piece of timing by the Brit in the 82 BMW M4 GT3 to go quickest of everyone. Here's Eddie Warden in the Lamborghini, who goes up into 5th place as well. Some 6 tenths off the big front-engined BMW. And Crawford Brown just eclipses that with a stunning lap, a 142.422 to claim pole position by 0.34 of a second. Absolutely phenomenal lap there from Crawford right at the very end of the session. And that's just been eclipsed by Jack Alexander for good measure in the Porsche with a 1 minute 42.417. Some stunning late laps here at Imola this evening. Currently looking at Sergio Lemke, who's just gone up into 23rd position in the Mercedes. So that was a stunning qualifying session indeed. Hopefully we can give you a rundown of the grid. Not quite uploaded yet, but nevertheless, stunning lap from last week's winner, Jack Alexander, in the number 21 Porsche 911 GT3R to deliver the goods there and set the fastest lap of the session. What a run indeed. So we're just waiting now for the race to start. Now, drivers are on the grid, quote unquote grid. They're actually just before on the run between the Variante Alta down the hill towards Rivazza. So it's Jack Alexander on pole position from Crawford Brown, Porsche from Lexus. Then we've got Nathaniel Shirley in the BMW from Kai Banks in the Audi. Emo Plate setting a very good lap time indeed in the Ferrari, car number 71. Then Radek Schuller in 6th place in the McLaren. Then we have James Lacey in another Porsche ahead of Eddie Warden. Then we have Sam Kruger in the Mercedes and Hugo Gomez in the BMW rounding out the top 10. In 11th place, it's Marco Badowski in the Bentley ahead of Nate Newcomer in the Jaguar XKR, the car that was competed by Emil at the time, by Emil Fry Racing. Then we have Magnus Dahlgren in an Audi and Kostadinov in a Lexus. We have Martin Schaefer in the Ferrari ahead of Atkinson. Dan Barnett is 17th in another Audi. And then we've got two more Nissans of Birch and Berno Reitzma. And then we have Peter Varga rounding out the top 20, in another Ferrari. 21st place, it's Simon Tribeck in the 81 Bentley ahead of Matt Hodgson in the number 92 Porsche. Then G4 in the number 20, in 23rd place in the Lexus, ahead of Sergio Lemke in the Mercedes. Then it's Pinpoint the Governor, Pinners himself in 25th in an Audi, ahead of Debug in the Bentley. Mad Al is 27th in an Aston Martin alongside Wood in a Jaguar. Then it's Mason in the Ferrari and Hutchinson in the Porsche, rounding out the top 30. Damien Lowe is in 31st place in the Mercedes, ahead of Kevin Shepherd in the BMW. And then it's Harry Hottie in the Lamborghini and Will Day in car number 420. Unfortunately, I can't quite actually make out the logo in the screenshot I've taken on my phone. In 35th place, it's Craig Gilbert Woods. We'll see just quickly if this has updated on the website. It hasn't, so unfortunately, but the drivers are now making their way down the hill, and there are a lot of them as well. There's over 40 cars entered into this. Means it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Currently looking at supposedly Nathaniel Shirley, but he's currently right in with the likes of Sam Krug and Hugo Gomez, so he's having to quickly try and make his way back through the field, and this is a very messy start indeed as they come down past the old Varante Bassa. And coming up to the start-finish line now, they all seem to be in the correct position, which is good. And the race is go here at Imola. Appears to be a good start from Crawford Brown in the Lexus. Jack Alexander tucking in behind in the Porsche. Nathaniel Shirley on the inside as well, heading into turn one. Tamburello, everyone hard on the brakes. Classic Constantina effect here as they come through what is actually quite a quick chicane indeed. Mo Plate up into 4th place in the Ferrari, now dropping back down to 6th behind Kai Banks and Radek Schuller coming through the Villeneuve chicane. Now looking at Todor Kostadinov in the number 83 Lexus coming towards Tosa. Right now, and now with RWB, Pinpoint the Governor in the Audi, battling away there with the Lexus of G4 as they come up towards Piratello for the first time. G4 able to hold on to the position ahead of Hinners, with Mad Al and Matt Hodgson in very close company. There's Chris Brook just off the track there, unfortunately down in 40th place. There's cars are going all over the place, trying to find a little bit of space here on what is an incredibly narrow circuit as well. It's incredibly fast as well, and to top it off, the walls are properly close here. Oh, bit of contact there between Simon Trebeck and Peter Varga. Trebeck just misjudging his braking zone, and now with the Bentley parked right on the apex of the first part of Ravazza, Varga's Ferrari ended up in the gravel, unfortunately. You can see Varga now battling away with the Lamborghinis. He's down. There's Kevin Shepherd there, so he's down in quite some way down the field. He's down in 27th place at the moment. Debugs had a eventful opening lap, I think it's fair to say. Down in 34th, there's Damien Vilk in 32nd ahead of Craig Gilbert-Wood, both in Lamborghinis. Then you've got Gianni Lenz, Krajewski, I think that is, excuse me, Chris Brook, Tom Carroll, Nate Newcomer also having an interesting time of things in Jaguar. There's Mijajewski moving up into 39th place as well in the background. Currently looking at Peter Varga in 28th place. Excuse me. Now we're looking at Damien Vilk in the 32nd place Lamborghini. Now back to Magnus Dahlgren. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, in the number 89 Audi. Coming through the Varante Alta they come. There's Eddie Warden. Currently closing the gap to Emo Plate in the Ferrari. Imola, best known for its time on the Formula One calendar. In fact, one of the best races of my childhood was here in 2005. The epic battle between Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher, which ended up with ITV getting a very large number of complaints to the TV watchdog Ofcom in the UK for cutting to an ad break in the final laps of the race. In fact, I think it was actually on the final lap that they cut to adverts, meaning that we didn't get the chance to see the battle between Alonso and Schumacher, as that was the battle for the lead, and everyone promptly complained about it. Stunning circuit to drive. Flows well, even with the additions of the chicane save put in over the years, because of course it would be remiss to mention to talk about Imola, excuse me, and not mention that dreadful weekend in 1994 where a bit of contact there, unfortunately, between Eddie Warden and James Lacey. That was the battle for 7th place. Both drivers are in the runoff area at the Varante Alta. Now looking at Craig Gilbert-Wood in the 35th place Lamborghini. Yeah, Imola, of course, would be remiss not to mention that weekend in 1994, which started off with Rubens Barrichello having a big accident at the old Varante Bassa. Then the accident up at Villeneuve, which unfortunately saw the Austrian driver Roland Ratzenberger killed. And then just there at Tamburello, where on race day, after a multiple pile-up at the start, there was of course the accident that claimed the life of Ayrton Senna, arguably one of the greatest Formula One drivers, indeed racing drivers of all time. Saw a little bit of drama going on there earlier on as Peter Varga and one of the Lamborghinis, I think, were having a little bit of a moment in the gravel. That's Eddie Warden. And I think in fact, sorry, I think from what I saw, it was Varga and Hotti coming together, and then one of the other Lamborghini drivers actually seeing what happened and then promptly going straight on into the gravel to join them. Currently looking at Martin Schaefer at the moment in the Ferrari. Currently P10 at the moment. His first race of the season saw him coming home in 27th. So this will be a good haul of points for Schaefer. If he can keep this up, 50 points for 10th place. It's 75 for the win, 65 for second, 60 for third. Crawford Brown currently leading at the moment, although Jack Alexander would still just about hold the championship lead by my maths. Of course, there's a reason why journalists stick to writing for the most part, because maths really not traditionally a strong point, it's fair to say. But Radek Schuller, currently in 6th place, has a little bit to do. So there a pit window so is already open, so we're going to see maybe some drivers towards the back of the field taking maybe an early pit stop to try and actually get some clear track. Would not surprise me in the slightest. Looking at Toby Atkinson with Marco Badowski for company. Atkinson in the Nissan GTR having a little bit of a look there up the inside of Kostadinov. He's got to be quite careful because that might actually have compromised his run through Ravazza, which means that Badowski can maybe have a look on the run up to Tamburello. I don't think he will, because the Nissan's got incredible straight line speed, as Kostadinov makes a very early pit stop in the Lexus. So does Pinners in the Audi. Pinpoint the governor. Dropping down the field now is there in the pits. Damien Lowe also making an early pit stop for
just
good
measure.
Just going to
interrupt you here quick, Rob. I'm going to change this setting here, so hopefully it stops the stuttering.
Okay, copy. Cheers.